Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of Rest Easy with Chris and
Breezy. I'm currently in the San Joaquin Valley region.
what we want to do with this episode is answer some questions. Questions that you might have when you are traveling, when you're going on vacation, or as the other word or term, RUNcation, because there are some times that people go on vacations and run. So we're going to have a whole bunch of questions that we're going to answer to the best of our knowledge, and then I'm going to link them down in the description so that you can provide your own answer and what you guys do. So come along with us as we take a nice little run. There it is, the nice littles, right? In this transatlantic Rest and Easy with Chris and Breezy. So follow along, and in 3, 2, 1, here we go. All right, so we're here on our first break, and the questions are just going to keep rolling during our breaks. So I had the first question for Breezy, who's all the way over there in California. And the question I have for you is, what factors do you plan in when going for a race? Is it for the bling? Is it for t-shirts? Is it just for the glory of how things go with races?
Well, it depends on what I'm looking for. If it's a specific distance, then I'll start searching for that. For example, when I decided to sign up for a 50K, start searching, which ones were available, and also the time frame, because I need, of course, a certain amount of time to train. Now, it could also be if I just want to run in a different country or a different state, then I'll research, what types of races are available and when, because time of year will also play a role for the most part. I don't like doing a race in the summer. I really don't like running in the summer. But I definitely prefer the fall races, even though sometimes it doesn't matter, because anybody that's ran in Florida during marathon weekend, 2020 was rough. 2022 was a little better, but still hot. So sometimes that doesn't even matter. But yeah, so it just depends on what I'm looking for. Distance, different location, or if I want to go on vacation somewhere and, maybe get in a race while I'm there. So, yeah. Hey, Chris, I've got a question for you. When you go on your RUNcations, what do you eat? Do you bring your own nutrition for the races? Do you just hope to grab stuff there? And what about eating, the other days or before the race?
Oh, Breezy, that's a good question there. Let's see. When traveling, what do you eat? Well, there's kind of two things. Now, if you're sensitive to certain foods and all that stuff, and you already have a planned diet that you already have at home, and traveling can be a really big challenge. So I know there are some people that actually bring their own food. They'll pre-package it and bring it along to eat. But the thing is that's a good plan. But if you're in like a long vacation or RUNcation where it's like weeks, in most places there's grocery stores there that will be able to facilitate your kind of eating habit. But for me, when we go on these long vacations in certain areas, especially here in Europe, when we're out traveling, I always like to try the local cuisine. Now that is kind of like almost a no-go when running, especially if you really don't know how the cuisine is going to react with your body. So I still like to eat the normal foods like spaghetti and pizzas that I'm kind of already used to. That is kind of a standard across the whole world. But it is very unique in the ingredients that they use over here in Europe, because then a lot of it is kind of like actually good for you when you think about American food. But that's kind of like the answer to the question. Some people like to bring their own and they have their unique diet that they do. But me, I like to taste the local cuisine. So there's the answer. Now it's time to get back to running. You ready? Let's go. Time for the next question. So the question is, what are the factors in your packing for doing a run vacation?
Now this goes back to kind of similar to the first question. It depends on what I'm going for as far as distance, location, type of race, weather. For example, right now I'm actually just on an emergency trip and doing some running, but I didn't bring anything besides shorts because it's hot here. It gets to the low 60s at night, and we're going to be hitting the hundreds during the day. So nothing besides shorts. Basics that I always bring though, of course, running shoes. It doesn't matter, even if I'm not going to run, I'm still going to bring running shoes just as a precaution, also because they're usually comfortable to walk in. Again, dependent on the distance that I'm wanting to run or race, I will bring my own nutrition for that actual event. If it's a longer distance, then I might also need to bring some sort of vest, like what I'm wearing now, or even a small pouch. I will bring something for water, for just regular runs. Most races, of course, usually have water stops, but you might want to bring a water bottle just to be safe, especially if you prefer your own type of electrolytes. As far as clothing goes, I always have my standards, as what I know will not fail me, and those I will usually pack regardless of where I'm going or what type of race I'm doing. Hey Chris, what's the furthest you've ever traveled for a race, within Europe and otherwise?
That's a great question. Let's see. What is the farthest we've ever traveled for a race? Now, if everyone knows, we live in Germany, and I would say that the farthest we've ever traveled for a race is actually the Walt Disney Run weekend in Orlando. So that would probably be the farthest we've ever traveled for a race. But when you're thinking about here in Europe, there's been a lot of unique destinations that we've been to do a race. We did the actual marathon in Greece, rock and roll marathon in Spain. And then we also did the rock and roll there in Ireland. So when you think about it, all the different places that we traveled to run, it's all there. But the farthest definitely got to be Walt Disney World. Anyway, time to get back to running. All right, so we're at our leg challenge. We're about 2 miles in, and I'm trying to, like I just stated in the questions, that I'm trying to not put so much pressure on this right leg and my knee. I should have wore a brace, but I still got to do this leg challenge, and my current PR is 2.5. I would like to do 3 and see how well we could do that, but I'm not promising anything, but you never know. So I still try it. Let's see if we can do 3. You ready? Here we go. Take it easy. With me. That way. Get out here. Like asshole. But I didn't. That sucks. All right, that's half. Oh no, here we go. Still going. All right, that's 1. Oh, no, it's not. Yep. All right, that's 2. Oh, that's 2.5. Are we gonna do it? Push yourself. We got this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, lightheaded. Breathe. That's 3 though. Oh my God. New PR record. Let's take a break here. All right, so here we are. Got up that hill on our midway stopping point. Nice little break, taking some goos and some electrolytes so we can stay, hydrated and fueled up for the next portion. But the next question is in line. What, Breezy, what's the difference in packing for a normal vacation? I mean, you want to still train and run and all that stuff, and packing for a run vacation, a RUNcation, as you would say, like packing for a Disney race or a rock and roll race or any other type of race out there. What's the difference that you do for packing for a regular vacation and a run vacation?
For me, the differences are, so for a RUNcation, I am packing specifically for that run. That's my primary, where the primary emphasis is going. So I'm definitely going to be packing. Good morning. Good morning. I'm definitely going to be packing stuff, like I said, that I know I can depend on, that I have ran with, and if there's certain stuff that's required. For our 50K that we're running in October, of course, there's a required kit. We have to have a certain amount of water on us. We have to have an emergency safety kit. We have to have a blanket. We have to have a weatherproof jacket. So things like that. Also, usually I don't travel for races that they have to be at least a half marathon or longer. Unless, again, we're going on a vacation and there happens to be a 5 or 10K going on, then, we might hop into that. As far as just packing for running on a regular vacation, I'm just going to pack the basics. I'll, like I said, in the previous question, I'll always pack a pair of running shoes. And then depending on where we're going and what the weather is, I will pack clothing for that, for the temperatures. But yeah, so again, RUNcations, the primary emphasis is on the running gear and attire versus the regular attire more so. And for a regular vacation, it's the opposite. I'll throw in some running stuff, but the primary goal for the packing is regular attire. Hey Chris, when you travel to a new location to run, do you find it easier or harder Or is it dependent on certain circumstances, or what do you think?
All right, so let's see. Is it easier or harder to run in a new location when you're going on vacation somewhere? Let's see. Well, it all depends. I mean, if you're running at an elevation of your normal running routes is around kind of like sea level or just above it, and you're going to somewhere like Colorado or the top of the Himalayas, or maybe the Swiss Alps, or anywhere that is of an increased elevation, I think it's going to be a little bit harder due to the fact of, the elevation. I think that's kind of, self-explanatory in that one. It's a lot harder to breathe. Your body still has to get used to it, and sometimes it's a lot easier if you're just going to another place that is the same elevation. It's really not that big of a factor. It's pretty easy. But the thing is that, yeah, you might be in a location where you might be in the same elevation, but it might be 30 degrees hotter. And that would make it more difficult. So when you're trying to, go to a place and run, is it a lot easier or harder? I guess it really comes down to how well you're trained or training for your races. Yeah, there's going to be some difficulties. But if you're used to it or used to running, you can adapt pretty easily. But the thing is that, let's see, one of the other difficulties of running at a new location is you really don't know the layout of how everything goes. So you start running and only want to go do a 2 to 3 mile run. Next thing you know, you might get lost and do 5 or 6 miles. So kind of planning your route when you're getting ready to go is probably the best thing. That will ease that kind of difficulty and make it a lot easier. That way you can enjoy your run and not have to worry about it. So that's kind of like my thing. It's both easy and difficult to run in a new location. See what you think down in the comments. All right, so we are at, or at least I am at, my 4 mile mark. And it's time for my last question for Breezy. And this is the catch-all. It's kind of like the ending question was on everybody's mind. And that is, what are the races that are on your bucket list? All right, Breezy. I know you have a lot of races that you would like to get done out there, and I can't wait to hear your answer. But for me, what races are on my bucket list? Let's see. It's really not races. I think it's more of like what continents are all, well, I guess you would say I would like to run on all of the continents out there. At least a marathon.
Oh, bucket list destination races. The Great Wall Marathon. I think that'd be pretty freaking cool. The Midnight Sun Run in Iceland. It's a half marathon that is done, I believe, in June. And basically, it's still sunny at, midnight. What else? Oh, the Big Sur Marathon over here in California. Probably the Tokyo Marathon. And at some point, I would like to train up and do a multi-day stage race. I'm not sure where, but that's a goal down the road, maybe. But that's definitely a question I would love to hear everyone else's answers on. What would be on your bucket list race destinations? Or even if there's a specific race that you would like to train up for. I know there's some really popular ones in the States, like there's the Peachtree one in Atlanta, there's the Boulder 10K in Colorado. Of course, I know, Boston, Chicago, New York. Oddly enough, none of those are on my list. I've done Berlin, and like I said, Tokyo's on my list, and I wouldn't mind doing London either. But yeah, so definitely, please. Let us know down below. Hey Chris, when traveling, what gear do you take with you to film your runs?
All right, well, I guess it comes down to that last question that Breezy just asked. And what stuff do I take to film the races? Well, there's a lot of gear out there. There's the GoPro that I use. It's kind of new. Kind of get that point of view of me running. And then there's the phone that I'm recording this on. But the thing is it comes down to what you really want to carry. I mean, the GoPro, I'm getting used to it being on my head and all that stuff. So, but for the long races and all that stuff, I gotta have, you know, a power cord and a battery pack. So it gets a little bit heavy in carrying all this stuff. I've seen people just do normal stuff like Osmo Pocket or just the GoPro with a little tripod handle. But then I've seen people with elaborate camera systems that like Sony's small little vlog cameras. I've seen Nikon's, the Z30 has come out, just brand new. That's something new that people, I haven't seen anybody running with those yet, but then I've seen people with GoPros with gimbals and big old things of clunking around, which I don't think those are probably for the long races. Those are more for the short races. But of course, if you're world famous and a good trail runner or whatever like that, you actually have a film crew filming your runs and making documentaries out of them and stuff like that. All right, well, that's it. 5 miles and done. Got to make sure that my injury doesn't get too much or too aggravated. I don't want to have to be laid up for this big race that's coming up. So we took it nice and easy. I did feel a little strained, but it's all good. Just means I'm healing it a little bit. But I hope you like this video. And we'll continue training for our big race here in 40-something days. Well, actually, yeah, 40-something days. With that being said, stay frosty, my friends, and we'll see ya. Take care.